Welcome to Field Days Kitchens. Well, actually, today you're in my kitchen and let's cook a classic Kiwi roast chicken. But let's do a stuffing that's just a little bit different. As we're in this world of we've got to have low carbs, so many people don't want gluten, let's use the magical secret ingredients of black rice. It's chewy, it's nutty, it's high in fibre, got amino acid. It's a lot better for us and it tastes delicious. Let's start on the stuffing. First thing we need to do is get 6 tablespoons of our black rice into a pot. And then I've got some chicken stock. You could cook it in water, but by cooking the rice in the chicken stock, we're really going to get that flavour of the chicken going on. So let's get it on the heat, bring it up to a simmer. Soon as it hits a simmer, we'll turn the heat down and get a lid on. All right, so let's get a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil into our pot. I'm using half a celery stalk. If you've got some celery left over, chop it up, put it in a bag in the freezer and you can use it to make your own stock or maybe even a bone broth. Now, I'm going to cut it into manageable size pieces and then just take your time and slice the celery into strips. And once we've sliced it into strips, you come along and just roughly slice them down the middle again. The finer the celery pieces are, the more delectable the surprise will be. So over here, this has come up to a boil. Let's turn the heat down and get a lid on. This will take about 35 to 40 minutes to cook. Now we've got all our long strips of celery, bunch them up like that, and now we're just going to slowly slice them. And the flavour that it's going to give our stuffing is going to be just fantastic. Now, no stuffing would be complete without some onion. So I'm going to put half an onion in, and we're going to slice down here like this. An option as well for you. There we go. Now, whilst that's starting to cook, I'm going to start chopping up the mushrooms. Now, I'm using a mix of shiitake mushrooms and just good old brown mushrooms, but you could use field mushrooms, whatever mushrooms you can lay your hands on. Button mushrooms probably would be my last choice because I want really good black colour coming out of these guys because I want a black stuffing. I want people to, you know, look at this stuffing and go, wow, that's not what I was expecting. there's going to be a lot of water come out of these mushrooms. I want to cook them down until all the moisture is gone, which will be about 25 to 30 minutes. Great thing about this roast chicken is you can make the stuffing, allow it to cool, and then stuff your chicken the night before. So literally about 2.5 to 3 hours before you want it to go in the oven, you take it out of the fridge and it's all ready to go. Our mushrooms are doing their thing here. Let us finish getting the last ingredient that goes in. So it's 1 egg, and we're going to whisk that up. And this egg is going to be the bit that's going to bind it together, because remember, we don't have any bread going in here or any flour. Now, half a teaspoon of ground ginger. It's going to be the magic in the stuffing. It'll be like whatever you put in there, but won't really stand out too much. So the ginger goes in. Also, the zest of 1 lemon, just that lemon skin that we need. So there we go, that's in there. Cut this in half. Let's juice this. No pips in there, and that goes. Lastly, half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Okay, as you can see, all the liquid has gone, evaporated, and we're just left with this pot full of goodness. So that is ready. Our black rice is done. And you can see that there's just a little bit of liquid left in there. So I want to get rid of that. Now our black rice, and look at it. It'll be slightly nutty. If you want to taste it, it should be just a touch chewy. Mix that up. Now in the perfect world, I'd let this cool down a little bit. I don't have lots of time, but I do have some parsley. So I'm going to get rid of some of the stalks, and I'm going to chop that up because that's going to go in. And now our mixture of egg, lemon juice, ginger and cheese go in. The hint of ginger will be absolutely delicious. And I'm going to serve it with gingered carrots as well. There we go, our stuffing is done, ready to go. So let's get on to our chicken. Okay, time to fill this bird up. So in with the stuffing, and I like put it on the bottom because I want to leave a little space above the stuffing so a little bit of the hot air whilst it's cooking can circulate around in there. And if you're not a fan of bacon, you could leave the bacon out of this if you didn't want to have any pork. Now, you're going to find that there's stuffing left over. And I always found when I'm having roast chicken, the stuffing is one of the most popular things. So you want plenty, and I'm going to show you what to do with it. We'll have a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil over the top, and we will massage that in. It's going to help get that lovely golden colour on our bird. Some pepper on there. A little salt over the top, and that is good to go in the oven. But we have some stuffing left over, so little drizzle of olive oil over the tin foil. Now you could use spinach leaves, you could even blanch some cabbage leaves, and this is just to roll the stuffing up. So lay them down, get the leftover stuffing, roll these guys up, and you kind of want it to be as tight as possible. It's a little bit like doing a sushi roll. There we go, tuck it in. And now we can just literally come along here, and you've got a Christmas cracker all ready to go in the oven. The oven has been preheated to 180 degrees C. I love a tomato with a roast chicken, so whilst the chicken is cooking, I'm going to pull the calyx off these tomatoes, get rid of that, cut them in half. So let's just get a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil in there, and we'll cook them in the oven with the chicken. Little drizzle of olive oil on top, and if you've got a balsamic, a drop of balsamic vinegar on here. I've got an Italian seasoning. You could use a Moroccan, you could use a little smoked paprika, but it's just that something that's going to make this tomato jump out with flavour with that extra virgin olive oil, that salt, and just a drop of balsamic, a touch of cracked pepper, and into the oven for a good 25 minutes. So I've got some battens of carrots. I've got some cold water. Remember, anything growing under the ground always goes into cold water to start cooking. There we go, a little salt. Now some hot water, because beans grow on top of the ground. I've just got some green beans, I've got some butter ready to go on top, but I want to turn those carrots into something spectacular. So a little bit of fresh ginger. You don't need a lot of ginger, but we're going to serve the carrots in a parsley ginger butter. So I've got a slice of butter. Use as much as you want. If you want a major heart attack or not at all, but butter's going to add some great flavour. So I'm just going to grate on a sharp grater some fresh ginger in there. Let's get a little parsley, get rid of the stalks. Same deal, just bunch it up. This is just curly leaf parsley, but use whatever you like. And parsley and ginger are a great combination. Ooh, look at that baby. So now what we need to do is let this rest for 15 minutes. The juice is going to stay in the chicken, and all of this is going to be flavour into our gravy. And half a cup of white wine goes in. We'll get that over and we'll bring that up to a boil so we can start simmering it, so we can cook the alcohol out of it. 1.5 cups of stock, but the secret ingredient that I am going to put in here is some Worcestershire sauce. It'll just be that little magic that we weren't expecting. A grind of pepper, 2 tablespoons of the corn flour going into the cold water. And we're going to let that simmer away for 5 minutes. Our carrots are almost cooked. Carrots are done cooking. I'll drain off the water. Give them a moment just to make sure they're as dry as possible. Back into the pot. Then this butter and ginger goes in there. Sit it on top. A little grind of black pepper, and I'm going to put a lid on and let that butter melt in there. Beans in, and now I'm going to drizzle this in whilst whisking. There we go, in it goes. The gravy is ready, smells delicious. I've got lots of it, because when you have roast chicken, you've got to have lots of gravy. And remember, gravy freezes well. Our beans are ready. Some butter on top there, little grind of pepper, little touch of salt on top there. It's now time to plate it up. And let's have a look at our little stuffing roll here. Bunch of beans, mixing those carrots up, and that butter is melted over the top there. And some gravy. There we have it, good old Kiwi roast chicken with a forbidden mushroom stuffing. Something a little different. Gingered carrots, beans, and a tomato that's going to be banging full of flavour.